So the next step for this was laying out for the teachers the aims of the session, which was to connect the IB learner profile to international mindedness and therefore to service. I wanted us to do this through identifying our own interest in a global issue and then being able to practice inquiry into the global issue how a student would. And this also provides a nice opportunity to share some strategies or approaches to learning for teachers. So looking at the IB program model, I just pointed out to the staff members how the IB learner profile is the center of our program model. International mindedness is our overall overreaching goal. And then our action and service is just on the outward edges here within subjects, but outside our approaches to teaching, approaches to learning, global context and concepts. So I shared this purpose that I mentioned earlier with the staff, and I asked them to read through it and really focus on what the purpose of the IB learner and the IB learner profile is. Shared a copy of the IB learner profile with the staff so they could have the definitions on hand, and then encouraged them to try to categorize, rank our 10 attributes from most important to least important. So it was quite interesting conversations that were coming out right away. Some of the teachers really felt that this was not a great activity because there are 10 attributes and how can you just eliminate one? Others got into it right away and could justify why they thought certain attributes were more important than others when we're looking at international mindedness, as you can see from the diamond 9 on the right. So I led the teachers through a Four Corners activity. I first learned this approach at a Catherine Berger Kay workshop. I have her resources later on in the bibliography. First step of the Four Corners activity is to have a large piece of paper, draw a rectangle inside, and just consider your own interest and skills. Once you've considered and added your own interest and skills around the outside of the rectangle, you are free to share with your group. It's quite inspiring to see what other people's talents are, and if they're having a hard time, we often can see those talents within them, even if they wouldn't have been able to identify them. Here are some examples at my school of talents that teachers feel that they have, from opera singing to swing dancing and reading, being interested in humor, music, travel. Once groups have had a chance to consider their interests and skills, here's where we get into our global issues. In this case, I encourage people to look at global issues from an environmental or human lens, and within environmental, often people will come up with the ideas of deforestation, dehabitation, pollution. On the human side, we can often see poverty and education in front of us as we live in a large mega city. Once people have had a chance to brainstorm a few issues that they feel are important, then the group themselves will choose the issue that they would like to focus on. For some groups, this was quite easy and they jumped right into it and chose it. Other groups had a lot of different ideas before they could focus on the one that they decided to for this session. After that, it's really important, especially for students, to practice generating questions. One of the things I've noticed from doing this activity is for people to be inspired by other people's questions. So we can come up with a couple of questions ourselves, but when we start to read what other people are questioning, it can generate more questions. So it's really great to get up, check other people's groups, see what issues they've chosen, and then add some questions in there and come back to your own group and see if there's any more that you'd like to add in and remove any ones that might be repeating.